fall in the space between what remains of me and this reckoning. Either way, I will bow to the things of this world. And I know I will never be alone. There is another in the fight, standing next to me. There is another in the waters, holding back the seas. And should I ever need reminding what power set me free, there is a grave that holds nobody. Now the power that lives in thee, and I can see the light in the darkness as the darkness bows to him. I can hear the roar in the heavens as the space between whispers. I can feel the ground shake beneath us as the prison walls cave in. Nothing stands between us. Nothing stands between us.
Hello there. My name is Christa, and I'm here today to give my testimony. I haven't really done this before. Some people that I know bits and pieces of it, but I've never just given the whole testimony ever. So here I am. I feel led to do it, and I'm going to get started. I'm going to go back to my childhood, as I think it's best to go back to the beginning on my story. I'm 61. So just wanted to get that out of the way. I'm 61 years old. You know, my childhood, my mother was married 5 times. My father was married 7. So you can kind of imagine everything with that. Anyway, I knew at a very young age that my mother didn't like me. I knew at a very young age that there was nothing there. So years down the road after that, she got into a quote church. It was more of a cult. And my life to her didn't work in that cult. I was considered not of the Lord. And she would always tell me that I was not of the Lord. You're not of the Lord. And then eventually it was, you are of the devil. You are a devil's child. You are of the devil. You are not of the Lord. So with a lot of that came all phases of abuse. I'll just let your imagination run with that. And there was also a lot of food deprivation. And I resorted to stealing food in order to eat. I'd steal food from the neighbors. I would, at school, open up lunches, open up lockers and take their lunches so I would have something to eat. And things got really, really bad. So while she was in this church, I was cast out of it because I was considered a devil. And they would have church in this old house. And the old house had a really, really dark old cellar in the bottom where you opened up the cellar doors. And that's where I stayed. So they would put me down there in the dark cellar in a chair while they had their church. So eventually things just got so terribly bad and I was so completely traumatized that I was pretty much convinced that I was evil, I was of no good, and I was a child of the devil. I wasn't any good. I wasn't good enough to eat with the family. I wasn't good enough to do a lot of things. So it soon ended up that the courts got involved, and I'm sitting in the courtroom as a little girl, and I hear my mother tell me that, you can take her. I don't want her. I don't want her. So I ended up in a group home for abused children. And I got to tell you, it saved my life. It really, really did. Things were consistent in my life at that point in time. So as the years went on, I ended up getting married and I had children. And the marriage didn't work and I did get divorced. Since that point, I had spent most of my life always trying to prove to everyone that I was good, even though I never believed that I was. Never did believe ever that I was good. I always knew that I was a child of the devil, but I wanted people to know that I was a good person. So I would attend church and I would show the Father that I was good. I would show other people that I was good. I would work really hard and try and be the best in my position. I'd work really hard to make sure my kids had the best. I just wanted people to know that I was good. Although, honestly, deep inside, I never ever believed I was. So never ever did I feel good. Never ever did I ever feel worthy, especially of the Father. So years went by, still continuing to do the same thing. And I had more tragedy strike my life. In July of 2006, their father passed away in his sleep. Boy, that really hit our family hard. It was a mess. Then in September 2006, there was a car collision right in my yard, and the victim had passed away. And when they pulled the victim out, it ended up being my eldest son's best friend. So we had that happen in September of 2006. February 24th, 2007, I lost my eldest son. He also died in his sleep. He was 27 years old. And then in June 7th of 2008, my younger son drowned in the Lowhead Dam, and he was 20. So it was 4 deaths in 18 months, and I'm all alone. I was completely traumatized. I felt that I was given all of this because I was not of the Father and that I was of Satan. So I felt that I deserved it. So things got so bad, and I became so very angry, and I could not understand why I wasn't any good and why this all happened to me. So at that point, I decided that I wasn't going to do this anymore. I was going to settle this once and for all, and I was going to end my life. And I remember I was laying on the bed and pretty much had made the decision. And I had Marilyn Hickey on the TV, and I don't know if you all know who she is. She's a red-haired minister that was on the TV. And she was on my TV, and I had just made the decision, and I was going to do it that day. And through that TV, she said, "You lying in bed, getting ready to kill herself, you run to the nearest church, and you do it now." I did. So I ran to the nearest church. So I ran to the nearest church, got myself involved in the church. I was in every activity that you could think of. I ran, did everything. I'm just proving to everybody that I'm good, that I can do this, that I'm not a devil. And I continued again to do the same thing over and over. I really wanted the Father to be happy with me, and I didn't know. It just didn't know. So it didn't work either. It just didn't work. I was struggling really hard with the death of my son, Christian, the youngest one, as he had drowned in a Lowhead Dam. And the agony of me thinking about him knowing at the age of 20 that his life was coming to an end really, really hurt me. I struggled with it so bad. And I tell you, I ended up seeing a vision. And this vision was a huge hand. And I was standing at the edge of the water where he drowned. And I saw this huge hand come up out of the water. And it came up out of the water. There's water coming down on both sides of this big, huge hand. And there's this teeny tiny little spot that was in his hand. And the closer I got to see it, I could see that little spot was moving. And it was my son. My father had showed me that he had never suffered. So at that point in time, I was just in awe and amazed that he even felt the fact that I was in so much pain. But I still didn't feel that I was good enough for anything or of the Father. I still had this in me that I was no good. So in 2014, things started to change. I really couldn't explain it at that point in time, but things started to change in my life. Something was happening. I'd go to church and I'd feel like something was just missing, but I just didn't know what it was. So I just continued. So in 2015, my girlfriend and I were speaking, and we were both searching for something. We didn't know what it was. And that's when we discovered the Sefer. And man, oh man, boy, oh boy, that book was awesome. And I discovered some other pastors online, Dr. Stephen Pidgeon, Adam Fink from Parable of the Vineyard. And it was like my whole world exploded. Everything that I thought and knew I knew wasn't. And it was just a whole new world out there. So I'm still in the church while I'm doing this. And I had a woman from the church come up to me. And she was an intercessor. She said she was an intercessor and that she had a word for me. And she said to me, I need to tell you of this that I've gotten for you. And I said, okay, that's fine. She says, I don't know how you're going to take it. She says, because I don't know how to take it, but I need to tell you. And I said, okay. And she said, there's 2 trains. She said, there's one big train with a lot of people on it. A lot of people on the train. And then there's another train with just you. And she said, one train is going this way with everybody on it. And then here's you all by yourself going with another train. And I was really upset. I was really upset because I thought that I wasn't good enough again. I just figured that it's not going to be. And I wasn't good enough. So I continued to stay at that church for a little bit. And I continued to read the Sefer and learn a little bit more. And by 2017, I left the church and was on my own. My friend Scarlett and I, we headed on a quest to read the Sefer. And wow, let me tell you what, a lot of good things were going on in our lives. By 2018, I was following Torah, but I still just did not feel worthy. I just feel like I was not worthy of his love. I couldn't get there. I was still trying to do things to feel worthy, make myself feel worthy, make I don't know, just I was so empty inside. So 2020, COVID came, and I got laid off from work June of 2020. And I think everybody was getting laid off at that point in time. I don't think anybody was having jobs. And it was so bad that I didn't even get my unemployment. Even though I had it to get, I think that the unemployment offices were so overwhelmed that I never even got it. So my savings eventually ended up running out. But I got to tell you, I was in the Bible all day, every day. I was in that word all day, every day, and it exploded. That COVID was meant to happen to me. That year and a half was my time to truly get to know the Father and to know that I am loved and that I am his and that he is my Abba. He is my Abba. I have a king for an Abba. How awesome is that? I have a king for a father. And when that all hit me, I can't even tell you how my life changed. The stumbling block in my life was gone. I'm loved by the Most High, and his name is yahuah. And that Torah set me free. It set me free and it gave me life. Hallelujah, Father. All praise, honor, and glory to you. I just thank you so much, Father. I would do it all over again if I had to get to this point. I just can't believe that I have an Abba. I can't believe that one day I'm going to be a bride. And I say that to him all the time. I'm so excited. I cannot wait, Father. I can't believe I have an Abba. I can't believe I'm going to be the bride of the high priest, your son. You know? And I hang on this, and I love him so much. I praise you, Father. And I love you so much. In the mighty name of your precious son, yahusha HaMashiach, who pierced the veil and died for you and I. Hallelujah. Well, that's the end of my testimony. It's a little short. I probably buzzed through it a little bit too fast, but even if it just helps one person, I'd be happy. All righty. I thank you so much. And there's a song at the end of this I'd love for you to hear. Thank you.
Shema Israel, yahuah Eloheinu, yahuah Eloheinu achad. Shema Israel, Shema Israel, yahuah Eloheinu, yahuah Eloheinu achad. I'm no longer a slave to my sin anymore. And should I fall into space,